I remember this time. I never remember. There. And we're live.
Whoa.
We're live. Yay.
Boy.
Ooh.
Yippee.
We're here. Echo. Neat. And then there's not. It depends on when it feels like doing it. Crazy. I need to do my 1 second. Let's check something.
My stomach is pulling an Amber stomach, but like 20 minutes later.
No, that's right. Why isn't? Could not tell you things of why things happen on stream, but we're fine. We should be good. Everything should be fine. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something to start this, and it fled from the brain. Just gone immediately. Couldn't tell you what the thought was. It was there, and it no longer is. So welcome to the Anime Podcast, the Anime Affray, Save or Slay, Fall 2024, podcast. Week 6. We've watched 8 episodes. Spoilers and harsh language incoming. Yeah, and that's that. Yeah. Again, there was definitely what I mean. Do we need to go right into it?
I don't need to, but I'm sure some people would prefer to. But I'm on night shift again, so I'm good.
Austin, we have 6 shows. I think we can. I think we can yap a little. I think we'll be fine.
Fine.
I think we will yap and be fine.
We can get at least
a little thing happened on Thursday, but
we can get in at least like a half of a Sean D&D story worth of yapping.
I don't know. I don't really have one besides the fact that my players are through phase 1 of their final boss. We'll see if they get to phase 2 before the end of the year. Spoiler, probably not. I'm looking. Let me do a quick look at my schedule. I'm busy tomorrow. It is Christmas the next week. It is New Year's the week after. I don't think we're playing D&D again for this campaign this year. So they'll just finish their final boss in the new year. What's another year for 7 years long? It's fine. You know,
why not 8?
It'd be like that. Well, we won't hit a full. I honestly, I don't even remember if we're full 7 yet, or if this is about to be. I would have to go crunch numbers. I don't feel like it.
Math is hard.
The Fandelver campaign picks back up tomorrow night. That'll be fun. That's our downtime session. Absolutely nothing is surely going to go wrong. It's a downtime session. Everything should be happy-go-lucky. There should be no combat. No one should fuck anything up. It should be pretty straightforward. This group has never failed at anything in that regard. We will be fine.
Totally.
We will gain 2 new party. We will definitely, probably, maybe not gain 2 new party members next session. I know what they are. No. Just, and again, nobody died. We're just getting 2 new party members to replace 2 party members who are no longer in the group.
Yeah.
That's that we know of. Do you count a druid becoming not human and going back to being a bear as dying? I am debatable. You know, it's hard to say. I
can't believe they actually pulled that trick off in your campaign.
Yeah, it was Dylan. To no one's surprise.
Surprising exactly nobody.
He's coming back as a bard. That'll be fun. And my buddy Vinny is hopping on this campaign for like the end stretch of it, and he's gonna play a paladin, I think. Which, you know, if you're drafting a character with the campaign maybe going to Barovia, paladin sounds pretty fine. Yeah, you might want to. Not that our cleric who's walking around with a fucking undead destroying legendary breastplate needs any help destroying undead, but it can never hurt. Yeah, Michael said a thing. Game Awards happened. Nothing important. Besides, I stay winning. Victory is mine. What a good year. Yada yada yada. Outside of that, real quick.
Michael's hogging.
Outside of that, real quick rundown. What are the things that have happened? There's a new Bug Ego chapter I have not read. That's the only thing I'm not caught up on yet. Because I knew that was gonna be a read. So yeah. Anything I feel like I want to talk about out of the Shonen Jump stuff. Elusive Samurai is back, and that had a lovely chapter. Again, we are getting to the resolution of a character dynamic that this podcast has been introduced to in the anime that is actively still going on in the manga at, let me double check this number, chapter 184. And we are maybe finally getting the resolution of that where one of these characters is probably gonna fucking die soon. We're getting to that point. Really, they did honestly, a fucking incredible chapter. It is crazy in my brain that it will probably be like 3 or 4 seasons worth of anime before we even get to this point remotely. Which is the really scary thing I'm realizing about these adaptations of like the new Shonen Jump stuff is, oh boy, this shit gonna take a while. Like, I was thinking about it and I'm
Or
like,
it's just never gonna happen.
or it's just never gonna.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, Elusive is one that there's a chance it might just do like another run and then it just might not give us anything else. People are yapping that we might soon be getting announcements for a couple of things. Let me really quickly go double check that we haven't gotten announcements for these things in the time that this podcast, since the last time I looked at news stories. It doesn't look like it. Let me just make sure. I'm just looking to see something I've already seen in the news feed, and then I'll know for sure that that is true. It looks like, yeah, it looks like nothing's happened yet, so I think we're fine.
Good.
So the things that people are yapping about is that they think that Kindergarten Wars and Marriage Toxin are both next on docket to have announcements that they will have anime in production. Because they were accompanied by a couple of other manga on a panel that I don't know if it's happened yet or is happening. And the idea is that, yeah. But both of those are significantly far in their mangas that you could absolutely do it. Kindergarten Wars is frustrating me now because instead of doing a chapter every week, it's bi-weekly, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But what it means by it's bi-weekly now is that once a week it publishes the main story, and then the next week it publishes a side story. So you are now bouncing between 2 different stories in the manga that happen at 2 completely different times. And I'm essentially reading 2 mangas now by the same author in the same setting, and it's a little frustrating. I have started reading a couple of new things. Who is surprised? Raised hands. That's right. I have checked out Asura's Verdict, which has 3 chapters out. People are comparing this to Death Note. Very good reason. This is the goodest boy known to all man who now has a key that if he shoves a key in someone's forehead and turns it, he sends them to hell. He's just doing his best for the world. This manga opens with some strong JoJo content. Justifiable actions for why he sends some people to hell. JoJo fans might understand. Yeah, you might know what, you might have figured out what probably happens, Mason, in the first chapter of this manga. Justifiable. Some people deserve it. Drama Queen's 3 chapters in. It is yet to be seen whether this manga is presenting its main characters as good or bad people, so I have yet to decide to weigh in fully on how I feel about it. Until it decides whether it wants to present these people as good or bad. What is... I started reading a monthly manga. Good for me, right? Another one. This is called Imperial Cabinet. This shit's rad. It has 6 chapters out. And the best way I can describe it, like in terms of how it feels to read, is like I'm reading something that is JJK and Kaiju combined. Because it has the monster and like governmental structure of Kaiju number 8, and it has the sorcerer like team dynamic thing of JJK. This shit's a politics manga. 100%. Way more than it's anything else though. It is neat, it is rad. Its second chapter is 90 pages. Monthly manga go burr. None of its other chapters are that long, but the second chapter go burr.
Fucking One Punch Man level bullshit.
And then I picked up reading Getaway Matsumoto, 100 Days Escape, because I wanted more sports. I needed more sports in my life. That's good so far. That is weekly. So it says. I swore we got a thing that said it was maybe going bi-weekly, but it does a lot of extra chapters, which a lot of things on Manga Plus does. That's a sports manga that is also a death game. Like, it's complicated. The whole point is he's an ex road cyclist who is escaping for 100 days after being framed for murder. There you go. That's that. Smother Me's about to end, like probably 2 chapters, which is good because it doesn't need to be long. Its art's cool. It'll be neat if it gets adapted. It'll be like a really quick one and done thing.
I read a couple chapters of it. It seemed okay.
Yeah, it's art in the way it does
The
its
art is
coloring.
really cool.
When it does its coloring, it's really neat. And if they adapt it the
Yeah.
way the mangaka does the coloring, it'll be a really neat adaptation. Otherwise, it's fine. It's not anything to particularly write home about. Besides the fact that it takes place in a crime-filled city, let me check notes of the actual manga. Detroit? I think it takes place in real-life Detroit. Fucking wild.
I think it actually does, yeah.
No, it does take place in Detroit, and the whole premise is that Detroit has insane child crime, which, good for it.
Child assassins.
So, do you have anything else? Because I, funnily enough, have a segue from that.
No, I think that's about it. I played a little bit of Fortnite, but you're good to go.
So, for what I've done, speaking of Detroit, so Cody
Always a
and
good
I,
transition.
Cody and I have started watching. Well, he's rewatching through because I have not seen the first season of Titans by the DC Titans.
Does that take place in Detroit?
Dick Grayson is a cop in Detroit. Raven lives in Traverse City, Michigan. But
We love that for the Teen Titans.
Hold on.
look, that show is wonderful when you know what you're getting into with it, which is it's going to be edgy, but it's also very fun. And also, like, the characters are incredible in it. Like, very, very solid adaptations of characters, even if it is a bit edgy for it. But just very cool ways they do things. Like, how they depict Raven using her powers is almost like a demonic possession, which is a neat way of doing it. Aside from that, though, I have just worked and played so much Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know. I looked at your
so-
fucking Steam recap video. Mason, Jesus fucking Christ. That's all your December is.
yeah. I think last time I checked it, I had like close to 40 hours in it, and it came out last Thursday.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I literally played it. Like, Cody and I played it on Sunday from like 9 in the morning until about 10 at night. So, yeah. I don't think I've really done much of anything else.
How much?
There was
I was gonna say, how much of Survive did you get through?
literally the first like 20 minutes. Like, we got to the school that the main cast is staying. That was it.
Like,
Just because they just got off the bus.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're really not it. Okay. I was like, if you and Cody sit down and play like 2-3 hours of this game, you will catch up to where I stopped playing. And
Fair.
ironically, I stopped playing in the school. However, that a different set piece involving the school.
Yeah.
I met the bug boy. With his
okay.
bug. Very good.
With the bug.
With the bug. Kunaman? Hold on. Ah, shit. I got it. I'm so good at my job. My job of remembering Digimon names.
Proud of you.
You know, my boy.
Um,
Kunaman.
Probably a chance or something.
check this out. That is a bug. That certainly is a bug Digimon.
But
That is.
that is
Yeah,
bug.
that is.
It's like Wormmon, but it's different Digivolve.
He turns into the beeline.
That makes sense.
And by that, I mean also the wasp. He does both.
Yeah.
Because there's both.
Does he also just become a dude at the end? That's a joke. It's a Digimon. They all do.
Hold on.
That's the real joke here.
Hold on. Let me get one of his final evils, which is, by the way, in my opinion, one of the sickest fucking designs ever. So yes, Michael, you're not inherently wrong. There are outcomes where he does just become a dude.
Yeah, it depends on the game and stuff, because every game is a completely different set of evolution trees per mon.
Yeah, he can also become Stingmon. Why couldn't he?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Everything bug related becomes Stingmon at some point,
in time.
probably.
Yeah. It's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
how a little sky potato becomes a dude immediately.
How a cat becomes an angel.
Yeah.
I love the angel lines. They're the worst. Anything
Well,
else, Mason?
No, that's about it, honestly. Like, Rivals has taken over my life.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Michael?
So I've done a few things. Not like a ton of things, but a few things. So I guess I'll talk about Game Awards first, or a small thing from that. At the Game Awards, one of the big announcements there. So there were a few big game announcements, but like, Helldivers 2, finally added the third alien race.
Yippee!
It added the Illuminate, which is, from what I understand, like one of the more important ones lore-wise from Helldivers 1 for the 4 people who played that game total. But like the Illuminate's like, when you think of alien, it's that. It's like the stereotypical alien race, more humanoid, because the other two are bugs and robots. So, but yeah, Helldivers has been fun, playing some of that with friends. Other big thing I did, this is not Game Awards. It came out on the same day as the Game Awards. That's just because it happened to come out that day. So, 2-ish months ago, I think. I actually don't remember how long ago. I mentioned that I was playtesting a game. I found someone on the r/Outer Wilds who was like, hey, I need people to playtest my video game. Well, that game came out on Thursday. That game is fucking phenomenal. It's so good.
Well, what is that game, Michael?
It is called Chroma Zero. It falls into the category app that generally known as Metroidvania.
I have never heard this in my fucking life.
I've never heard of it that way.
Yes, because it is what Outer Wilds is. It is that style of game. Outer Wilds, The Witness, Tunic, things like that. Where it's a Metroidvania, but not because you go and get an item that gives you an ability. You learn that you could have done this actually the whole time. You just didn't realize you could do it. It is a open world, not a very large world. This game's kind of short. It's about 6 hours, somewhere between.
Perfect.
The average game is about between 8 and 12 without any help, going completely blind. I had like a friend who was playing it along with me for like the end stretch, so we kind of like bounced ideas off each other because some of these puzzles are fucking whack. But yeah, this game is fucking rad. It's called Chroma Zero by a solo dev. Game's like $9-10 right now. It's a good video game. But yeah, very good. If I didn't fucking anything else in my life in this time, no, probably not.
Right, that's the question.
I mean, Risk of Rain 2 got an update. So like they rebalanced like half of the dog shit that was the current what the fuck is it? DLC that we got recently. It was real bad on release. But yeah.
There's something about this.
Before we pass it off to our duo, I will say, there are some manga that I read that I understand they need to take the week off to for the mangaka's health. But I swear to God, I hope you're happy, Lemon. Why'd you pick this fucking week to give me an extra chapter? I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream. I just can't not. John understands. We finished at a point where you very much wanted the next chapter, and it went, have a picture of two girls, and I went, cool, thanks. You give this to me.
Cute.
You give this to me.
You're not
every
forgiving, but they're
extra
cute.
chapter.
Fuck you. Fuck, they're cute. Fuck you, game, but they're cute. Fuck.
Marriage Toxin did something similar as well. A lot of my really good manga this week was like, hey, what if this week you just took a break? And I'm like, no, stop. Don't
Merry
do-
Christmas. Give me my fucking manga.
Don't do that to me. And then
Manga.
No, they gotta go eat their KFC and.
Oh
You know.
man.
by the
Lemon
way,
is so
did
good.
everybody else catch up on Chainsaw Man so they could read my spoiler?
No.
You
No,
should.
see, I'm just always caught up on.
Don't worry
Chainsaw
about
Man.
spoiling me. I get spoiled enough on the internet. It's fine.
Yeah, like I wake
Austin,
up
go
in the
walk up
morning, I look
there.
at my phone, and it
It's
goes, "New
fine.
Chainsaw Man." Dennis did some bullshit, and I'm like, "What the fuck did he do this time?"
Dennis did some bullshit.
Dennis Chainsaw Guy. What do you mean?
Dennis Chainsaw Guy. Oh.
just
Denji
Denji Dennis Chainsaw Guy.
Just like Dennis.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
send Mason the full list of the thing that is relevant that I was talking about, so that he can get why I picked the two things I picked.
I'm caught up on
I'll also send it to you then. Mara.
Dennis.
I'll post it.
Hello, League of Legends.
Because I believe this is from a year ago, but I don't think anything's changed, to my knowledge that I remember. So I'll post it, but I'll post it spoilered. There you go. Those are all the things that have been nommed, is what I'll say. Which is relevant for the end of the newest chapter.
Child mind breaks. Number 10. Number 10 is a thing that I had to read, and so shall you. Dennis Chainsaw Guy, man. Ba-ba-da.
Yeah, so I think my guess for the coming week is very strong.
I believe.
What
Yeah,
do you guys
Chainsaw
been
Man
up
is
to?
certainly a show of all time.
Number 4 is a crazy one. I love this crazy.
A lot of those are crazy, I'll be honest. But
Wild.
yeah, I'm excited to see what it does. Obviously, as always, Chainsaw Man is one of the manga of all time.
John, what have you and Austin been up to?
You want to go first, Austin? You have stuff that you did. I don't.
I drove up to Toronto to have to get my ass beat in Pokemon
Again.
And, yeah, I mean the team was fine. I went 3-5, but like 2 of my losses, I got like incredibly unlucky. Like one was like a single turn crit. I'm like I need a crit on every turn but this turn, like any. And then the other match was like I got Flare Blitz burnt, crit 5 times, and Hurricane
Remember this.
Confusion into hitting myself. And it was a matchup that I had like specifically prepped for, and I was just like, I guess it just wasn't meant to win this set.
It's be like that sometimes.
And then my last 2 rounds were against 2 friends, so I was like 3-3 at that point. And like whenever I'm playing against friends at a regional, I just like
Check out a
I
bit.
just like play with my dick on the table and just make the most absurd like plays and reads and just don't care. So I lose a lot.
See, Austin just does that to me all the time when we play each other in our friends local, except he gets every read right when he does that, and it pisses me off to no end.
Stop being so readable.
I'm not. I'm
Rude.
usually not. Austin just has the fucking like mind hack whenever he plays me, and it tilts the fuck out of me
Yeah,
every time.
yeah, because like for example, like one time I played against him and I side thunder waved on turn 1 so my Tyranitar wouldn't get Will-O-Wisp because he led Volcarona. I was just like,
I was like, I guess I lose. Cool. And then he like hit Rock Slide and like crit and then one shot my Volcarona. I'm like, awesome, love that. Cool. Pokemon's funny.
yeah, but now I've been here helping John prepare for his his own tournaments on
This weekend.
and just vibing, working the whole shebang.
I started a new job. So that's what's been going on with me. I finally back on night shift this week, which has been fun because I worked. So last week I had 3 days of orientation in the morning, and then the 4th day on Friday, I worked like a 12-hour, had Saturday off, and then worked Sunday evening. So I had like a day and a half to go from 7 in the morning shift to 7 in the night shift. Worked Sunday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday. Had like a 2-hour thing today, and then I work tomorrow night. So it's been great schedule wise for me, but that's okay. Like you said, I've been practicing some Pokemon for a like online tour this weekend that Austin's gonna help me smurf at, and hopefully, and we're gonna have some fun in some labs, and then have some Christmas plans next week. But other than that, pretty standard stuff for me. Just kind of playing Pokemon, working day by day. We have the cats in the house now, and they'll probably appear at some point because they
Yay.
usually get bored.
Let's go.
So,
We win.
but yeah.
And before we dive into it, what I'll say is 2 things that have been announced on the exact same day, probably from the exact same event, that are just a pure sign that I continue to win, is that Skeleton Knight, in Another World, and Undead and Unwanted Undead Adventure are both greenlit for season 2s. I win. Good shows for me. I continue to be winning. More slop.
Congratulations, Shinji.
One slop that I can consume and one really good show I'm very happy to have another season of.
Yeah, it's crazy hearing Skeleton Knight for Another World getting a new season and not Undead Unluck getting a second season.
Hey,
Rest in
man,
fucking
it'll-
peace.
Isn't there some stuff going on with that manga right now for Undead Unluck?
Getting close
I mean,
to
it's
the end.
probably ending soon.
Is that what it is? Okay. I saw
And not
something
like
news
and
about
not
it.
like it's getting canceled. No, we're at like chapter 230. You know, we're doing the thing that you do at the end of JRPGs.
The end.
Ah,
I mean, Michael, we're
You,
not.
you mean where you go around and do like 68 side quests at like level 6, but you're like level 94?
Michael, we're not gonna get any announcements until the special airs next season. The 1-hour special they're doing. That is. A
Oh,
sequel
are
to
they
the
doing
anime. Mhm.
doing it special to adapt whatever? I didn't actually finish where the anime was.
All
don't
I
even know-
see is a bunch of snow and something on fire, in the image they used for it.
What about
that's,
Michigan?
That's like 50% of that fucking story at this point. So.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, with that
It
in
sounds like
mind,
the state of Michigan every other weekend in the winter. A
Yeah.
little bit of snow and something on fire.
well, with that in mind, oh yeah, there's a
That
thing I
was-
gotta- there's a thing I gotta do first.
That was literally what happened today.
Yeah,
There
I
was a
saw.
huge fire near my work.
Crazy.
Apparently, there's something going on in Ann Arbor right now. Details at 11.
And then you know what time it is.
I think it's like 11:13 or 10:30.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
down
that'd
three.
be scary. It's
No, it's
power ranking time.
Oh shit! I
It's
didn't think
it's
about
that's
that.
right, baby. We're 2 for 2.
Oh shit!
No bolds.
Wow. Good
Turns
job
out,
on us.
when you get down to a small amount of shows and you have an extra person, it gets a little more difficult to have very stark disagreements. Especially,
Michael and I shared the brain cell.
kind of, in a way.
Yeah, but Austin and I shared the better brain cells. So-
yeah, I mean,
you know
yeah,
what? No,
I'm-
no. We need to applaud Sean for being
Individualistic.
individualistic.
Yeah, if there was a way for this to have gone slightly different, if there was gonna be a bold, it would be on mine. But since we only have 6 shows, that wasn't happening. But let's get into Don. John.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, it's me.
Yeah, it does-
So Don this week I thought was interesting. So we open up post on the Acrobatic Silky, and they're having dinner and they're competing over food and running around the table while Okaru's just sitting there eating, minding his business, eating his soba noodles, while you have Ira and thank you, Momo fighting each other at the table. Ira clearly having subtle feelings after being saved by this definitely not human cursed human boy, definitely not human guy. Ends up like walking out, and then at school we have more awkward interactions between Momo and Okaru, because of course we do. Because Okaru's sneaking off doing some suspicious stuff because he's actually trying to get fit so he can help his girl more. However, Ira corners him behind the building and is like, "I love you, please love me, please, please," and he's like, "No." And then has the awkward, "Oh no, we're tripping, I'm on top of you" scene as Momo's going to get milk for her friends. And so they basically spend the rest of the day kind of like creeping on each other and being awkward, and then suddenly everyone's gone and there's water. That's weird. Anyways, I wonder where Momo's at. And Momo encounters, I believe we did not get the name yet of it, but this Godzilla-like lizard.
What do you mean? It's Nessie. Come on now.
They didn't say it was Nessie yet, I don't think.
There is
Did
water, and it is a giant serpent. It's Nessie. Whether they say it or not.
It could be any other
I don't know.
velociraptor.
Godzilla's got a big fucking cannon like that too.
Godzilla has legs.
Is that what this thing-
Notoriously deep, flat. I played enough Mario 64 to know what the Loch Ness monster looks like, and watched that one Scooby-Doo movie.
I know that. Either way, the Nessie basically is very sensitive to sound. So Momo splashes a little bit, and it goes, "Oh, cool!" It just hyper beams through the entire fucking hallway. And then meanwhile, Ira and Okaru run into the aliens again, who are like, "Listen, we still want your wiener." And they managed to like suppress the curse power that he has, and like, "Ooh, now we want that too." Actually, fun fact. And the episode ends on Ira using her newly acquired silky powers to hopefully start fighting these aliens. So that's kind of everything that happened in that episode. Don't know where Granny is at this point. We also did replace the ball through was that this episode or last episode?
That was this episode.
The baseball?
Was that
That was
it?
this episode.
That was this episode through golden baseball nuts. What I guess it'd be kitty baseball. Yeah, that was it for this episode. What'd you guys think of nuts to the butts?
That's a way to put it. So I really like the end of this episode. Exactly where I expected us to go, establishing that Ira has powers now.
Yippee!
Really gonna enjoy this dynamic of two people with possession powers and two people with psychic powers. I wonder who that one's gonna be. I wonder if he's also gonna have a ball. We'll have to see. Who knows?
That'd be nuts.
Yeah. Man, the start of this episode sure does have food eating noises for a while, and you sure do have to deal with food eating noises for a while. I
We
don't
didn't notice it that much to watch on TV.
I
No.
don't know how much I don't know how much I enjoy the concept that Ira is still the world's biggest fucking idiot and still thinks Momo's at fault for this.
No, she's our idiot though, comrade.
Not yet. She has
You
not
can
yet
have
earned.
her.
I don't want it.
If you want to
Keep
fix her, you can.
I got-
Be my guest.
I got Momo. Momo's great. I'll keep her. I don't have as big of an issue with the thing I know Michael's gonna talk about, so I won't bother touching on it. My boy's getting jacked. Good for him. He's on that fucking classroom routine. That's crazy. They just let him do that. There is one really cool shot I want to talk about, which is while they are observing the mantis shrimp. What in the reflection of the ruler that the mantis shrimp punches, you see, Okaru on top of Ira as Momo's looking at it, and that shot's fucking rules. That shot's really cool. It's a really neat little detail of her seeing that, just staring into the void and disassociating into a mantis shrimp.
I want
Yeah.
to know why the fuck this classroom has a mantis shrimp.
Why not?
Why doesn't your class?
Why didn't our classrooms have
Yeah,
mantis
yeah,
shrimp?
that's more the real
That's the
question.
real question.
Well, I'd have to learn about those by myself on the side.
Also,
Exactly.
seems
Why didn't
very,
you know about mantis shrimp?
also seems like a very bad idea to give a mantis shrimp in a high school classroom.
Yeah,
But hey,
terrible idea, but also
Yeah.
they're awesome.
But they're rad.
that fucking fish tank's made of pure titanium.
Titanium won't
Yeah.
help.
Clear titanium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
notoriously clear
Fucking scary,
titanium,
bro.
otherwise known as mithril. Clear mithril. Michael, do you want to give thoughts?
But
I
yeah,
know you have
so,
thoughts.
yes. So Sean kind of spoiled the thing. Not really spoiled it, but yeah. So Sean early, he's like, "Is your PR good?" And I go, "As a bit, I do kind of want to set Danzadon down to 6 for committing cardinal sin. It does the objectively worst plot point you can put into a rom-com, which is to have characters fight and have no reason that they don't talk it out outside of them being little bitches about it, which is doesn't make sense for these two characters, them not to speak here.
I don't know, man. I saw them awkwardly sit on benches across from each other and be awkward goons like 2
Yeah,
episodes ago.
that was like 4 episodes ago.
That's
Okarun also
fine.
actively tries to. It
Yeah.
feels like
Again,
I don't
it's
feel
the fact that Momo
days
shuts
ago.
him down for no reason here, and Okarun doesn't just shout the words "I was working out," which doesn't make sense for him to be hiding right now, because it very clearly set up before this he does want to train. Also, I think Ira going on him is also a fucking super awkward thing that didn't need to happen. It was fucking weird. But again, she's supposed to be in the bad light there. I guess that's what that's trying to get through. I just dislike when characters have an argument and then it instead of them having an actual falling out, it's just character isn't able to speak. And that's really dumb.
I don't like it either, but they are high schoolers is how my brain goes, right? And so it kind of checks for these characters, at least in how I see it, but I get how it's like frustrating to watch from your perspective.
Yeah, my side of it is that, like, I think for Momo, as someone who has literally already gone through this like twice with Okarun, like she should definitely be the person who's like, "Hey, I want an explanation. What the fuck?" And instead she just doesn't, which, you know, again, you can chalk it up to high schooler romantic feelings, brain not working. For Okarun, and this is the reason why it doesn't bother me, is that he almost seems like he settles with, it's not worth it for me to explain it because I should have just told her to begin with. I lied once already. She has all right to be mad at me. I'll give her space to let her cool down. It does kind of seem like he has at least a thought process he has where he goes, it's not worth trying to explain all this because she's right. I lied once. She's gonna be mad at me for that even if I tell her the truth. And it's just like, give her time to cool down. And that to me was kind of how it felt like he approached it, which I think kind of clears him of like he just hasn't talked it out. It's also like they are actively trying to find each other in the new setting once they get trapped in a domain expansion. So like, understandable.
Expansion.
But yeah, like my brain obviously looks at this and goes, yeah, we have to separate them so that we can have, because if they're together at this stuff doesn't happen. So this stuff they have to be separated for the story.
I also think
Doesn't mean I
that,
have to like it, but
even though we're eight episodes in, I think in universe it really has not been like
A
a
long
long time since the first time it happened. So like, you know, Mom was like what, 15, 16? She's not gonna grow from that like immediately.
I think the odd thing is that she does feel like she is an emotionally mature character, largely outside of romance. That seems to be the part where she is stunted. Which you know
Honestly,
what?
fair.
Which you know what? Yeah, which you know what? Fair. But I can get that feeling. I completely understand it. Additional thoughts on the dawn of the dawns?
What'd you think, Mason?
I enjoyed this episode. I'm with Michael on the just fucking talk, please. Like, I feel like being in high school is not a valid excuse for what I feel is lazy writing. But also I see the side point of they do have to be separated, and it does like end up probably growing the character dynamic, but it is frustrating. Doesn't mean I don't like this show, but but I definitely think the
that's much more
So-
the thing. Is that it's not like this episode was bad. It was just that happened. I was like, ugh. And the other 3 episodes I thought were really good.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, good ass episode.
Okay, doke.
So ready.
Speaking speaking of that, let's move it on over. Let's talk about Blue Box this week, Austin.
Yeah, so we are at. What happened? This is why.
This is the tournament.
Tournament.
Yeah.
Arc.
We're in tournament arc time. Taiki gets up and starts doing like his little morning stretches, and Chinatsu like pops her head out and like, ooh, morning stretches. I want to join too. And they have this cute like little discussion while they're doing like the
Calisthenics.
And they go, and he is off to the tournament, and it's very, very heavily focused on like this episode is very heavily focused on the tournament itself. Taiki and Haru
yeah.
are like just watching people from the stands. And I'm trying to remember the exact order that things happened. Taiki ends up going to, I believe, the bathroom where he picks up when he's coming back, he sees like this guy that's just sleeping on the bench, and his wallet's like on the ground, and he's like, oh hey, you dropped your wallet, and the guy's like, oh hey, thanks. He's and then as Haru calls him back, he's like, oh, he's a nice guy. Nice guys aren't for badminton.
What a
Nice guys are
what a-
terrible
What
for
a
badminton.
crazy line.
Crazy line.
Base as fuck line, you mean?
So they move through a tournament, and Taiki's run gets immediately stunted by
Okay.
by the guy that
Yeah, so they lose doubles. They
double
lose
peppers,
doubles
too.
first.
doubles first.
Which
doubles was first,
they
right.
they lose to this school.
To Haru's rival, right?
Yes.
It was
Hado?
Hyodo,
Hyodo.
and
from
his,
Sajikawa Tyson.
Sakikawa.
Yeah. It's a close game.
Yeah, very, very close game,
Not-
but
Not like in they almost won, but in like they put up a fight for a guy who is like a national level, who's basically a national level high
he's
schooler.
being groomed to be in the like an
Olympic
Olympics,
tier,
yeah,
like,
He's
for
like the
Japan.
next. He's the next guy.
He is the guy.
He's like
and,
the Messi
he's
of
him.
badminton.
and they've like mentioned that, like, similar to how previously, up until the last episode or two, Taiki hasn't taken a game off of Haru. Haru has never taken like any game off of Hyodo, just to like put into perspective like
The tiers.
how vastly different their skill levels are.
Yeah.
So they end up losing, and then go on to the singles, where there are only 2 slots for nationals available. So you have to make it. If you make it to the finals, then you make it to nationals. Taiki and Haru are on opposite sides of the bracket, which means but Taiki also has Hyodo on his side of the bracket, so he's going to have to go through Hyodo to
make it there.
to even make it to nationals in the first place. And he's like looking at that, and that's when his like run gets just cut abruptly by getting 2-0'd by
Okay.
by Yusa, the sleepy boy. And he's a little bit frustrated, and he goes home like immediately, despite Haru wanting to like treat him. And at home he finds out that Chinatsu made it to nationals, but our boy Taiki is a little bit frustrated. Kind of sad that Chinatsu gets makes it to nationals and he isn't able to, and previously talks to Hina about his about like having some doubts about like whether or not he can become the nationals levels player. And then the episode ends.
Yep.
I think the best line he had about it too was like he forgot like where he actually is because he felt like he was making progress. Is I think one of the things he said, which is super like disheartening because it's like, oh, you were getting better, man. Like you were close, but like it's a big gap to make up. You can't just make it up in like 1 year.
Well, like what's
For
crazy?
someone who's
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say what's crazy about it is like this is more like unfortunately, this is just Taiki getting unlucky, right? Like realistically,
A bad draw.
realistically, a different tournament bracket, he's semifinals, right? Because a different tournament bracket, he runs into Yusa on one side and Haru runs into Hyodo on the other one. But what wound up happening is he runs into Yusa, Yusa beats him, then loses to his teammate, who then beats Haru in the final. So it's like realistically, he loses to the guy who loses to the guy who wins this tournament.
Haru had the most easy bracket ever.
We don't know because
We don't know.
Realistically,
But,
what probably happened is Yusa is not seated high because he's a first year who's just really talented. So he has no prior really reason to get seated super high in the bracket. It makes sense for the two best players to meet in final. The bracket seems like it worked out well. It's just that like it's one of those moments where it's like you have scouts there who are like, yeah, when he graduates, Haru's gonna be the best, but then you should maybe look out for Yusa because he seems like he's really growing and really good. And it's like, and because Taiki lost to Yusa, he's not in that conversation, right? If he wound up in any additional match further, they would probably be looking at him like a good potential candidate.
I think the biggest thing is he didn't just lose; he got fucking blown out. Like it was like 21-11 and 21-13. Like they weren't close matches, is why it was like super like, oh shit, I got bodied. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I lost, but it was close. It was like, no, I got absolutely rocked in a tournament I thought I maybe could have like even won, basically. So it's like, well, it's not an upset to anybody else. It's a huge like upset to him.
Yeah.
In like his progress is like the frustrating part for him.
The good thing
I read it.
The good thing is it means that he is under the radar of a lot of people, at least heading into the Enter High, I believe, is their next big
It'd be
thing.
like the mid-season, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like he had to wait like the rest of the year out basically, because there's like nationals and then there's the graduations and stuff, and then it'd be like the next one, right?
I don't know badminton in Japan, so I don't know if this is it for their season or if there's like a second chance for additional slots.
I think every sport usually has like 2 seasons, right? Like fall and winter usually.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where we are right now off the top of my head. So I'm sure we will get that answer in the coming episodes. I really like setting up this dynamic with Yusa. I think he's going to be a fucking fantastic sports rival. Exactly what you want out of a character for this. So I'm very excited to see. And the show does a very good job of showing you, despite what you end up feeling by the end of the tournament, that Taiki was definitely not fully ready. His doubles performance shows you he actually maybe is. He just needs a little bit more time to like play new people, because he's playing Haru too much, probably is the idea. He's playing Haru too much and is being carried a little by Haru too much in the doubles. But also their performance Haru wouldn't have done any better with anyone else, probably, is really how they portray it. And one of the things they do a very particular shot by shot of is the shot that Taiki misses in the doubles match is a line shot, and everybody who fucking wins in this tournament nails those fucking line shots. And it's also the shot we see him make in the end of the opening. A little bit better control, and he's going to go a long way. Otherwise, my other
foreshadowing.
Otherwise, my other big thing for Blue Box this week is the conversation that Hina has with his teammates when she comes in and she's like, he's done? What do you mean he's done? He lost a match. He doesn't have a second bracket. It's not round robin. What do you mean he works so fucking hard? What do you mean he plays one game, loses, and he's done? Like, it's really... That's one of those things where, depending on what sport you're coming from, depending on where you're playing and what you're used to, that seems fucking insane. But that just happens sometimes. And it's
a lot of sports, especially in tournament settings.
Just single bracket. I mean,
single bracket, single elimination. Like lose and go home.
Yep.
I love, which is what adds tension to a lot of anime too. Fun fact. That's what I love about things like Diamond No Ace, where it's like, hey, lose, you're done. Every game has higher stakes.
You're done.
You're done.
What are
Don't
other people?
forget
What are
me.
other people's thoughts?
This episode was fucking incredible. Like, from start to finish, I feel like this show is perfect at making you as the viewer feel the exact same way that Taiki feels in any given scene. It's so good at just making you feel like the highs and the lows of him playing the sport and like feeling accomplished whenever he does something and like shows progress. This episode's incredible for that because you get the feeling of just like numb emptiness that he feels toward like when he finishes the match and loses. It's just so good.
I also think the biggest thing too is like it subverts your expectations, right? Because you're ready for like, all right, here we go, tournament arc. Taiki's gonna pop up and he's done. Oh, that's awkward. Oh,
It's also the way it does it, right? Like you don't
oh, shit.
you
It's
don't
just a
get
cut.
to you don't get to watch full games, right? Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like, and obviously, romance sports manga, so I'm not too surprised, but it is wild to not get like a full match experience for
yeah,
it to go, no,
you literally
you don't need to know.
You literally have him go watch a doubles match, play in a doubles match, done. Tournament's over. That's it.
He loses
In the same episode.
He loses twice. He loses 2 tournaments. He loses
two different events in back-to-back days in the same event.
In the same episode.
Yeah.
Like, bro just had like the worst like 30 minutes of like half of anime characters in sports mangas ever.
My guy just speed ran the fucking bus.
Truck percent. But poor Taiki.
Also, OST is insane in this
Oh
episode.
god, the music's so
it's so good.
God, it's incredible, dude. Oh,
I like this dude, the sound design too, where like when it's hitting the racket, you get the little tinks, and you're like, oh, it hit off the edge of the racket, and then it's like a shitty shot that like barely skips it out. You're like, yeah, that's what it would do with that sound effect.
The show finally decided it was going to save budget a little bit because we have a scene where him and Haru are watching the double. They sit in the stands to watch the doubles match, and they show you the court, and they play all the badminton sounds, but no one's fucking moving at all. It's just a still frame shot of everybody on the court for the doubles. And I'm like,
that's so funny.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, please don't CG animate 35 people playing doubles. I don't need to see it. It's fine. You made a good choice. Thank you.
The immediate cut on because he's starting day one. It's day 2. It's the singles day. You see him and Haru. They go, okay, we're on these sides of the bracket. Jump cut. Oh, it's over. God, that scene fucking hits so well. Oh my goodness.
And it works because you have to realistically assume that's how his mental was, right? Like, he's in there, he's playing, and suddenly it's done, and that's it. That's just all it is.
Just done.
Like it hit us as fast as it hit him.
It's God, this manga's good. I can't wait for us to finish to see if you guys can read this. This manga's so fucking good.
Every week it grows more difficult to not just fucking binge this entire manga at work.
I mean, Amber teasing you about reading it like behind your back also doesn't help.
No.
Well, I'm not gonna pick it up until the full 24 is done. So I'm gonna suffer longer.
Oh boy.
Because realistically, if I start reading it, I'm not gonna go watch the second half of it. Like I'm gonna go, too bad. Like I've read it, I'm caught up, cool. That will be my focus for like a full while. If I actually stop, and it's the same thing where if like right now I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go find a place to read Shangri-La Frontier, like I would not be watching it. So I'm gonna watch it to its full completion of its season, and then I will go read it. Shangri-La's hard to do that because it's not on one of the things I read on, but any other blue box thoughts?
God, I love it when Fyodo first walks out. Like, that is an absolute fucking building of a man.
It
He
literally is
had-
like it's like when the fucking guy from is it Shiri Toizawa?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
it's the
Ushiwaka.
Ushiwaka effect. Where
He's like 6 years older. He's got the I am 12 fucking birth eye.
Yeah.
He's the
it's just
fucking
like-
guy from
Sounds like
beginning
a
of,
sounds like a
Spy
35-year-old.
Family.
I love how Haru describes him too. Haru's just like he's like if you're a video game character, all of his stats would be maxed out.
Yeah, he's like
Skins and
Shira,
everything.
he's like
He's
Ushiwaka.
Pablo San-
He's Pablo No, even Pablo Sanchez was like not the best at some games.
I assume
Like
he's like
mid as hell at hockey.
I assume that comparison is exactly what it's going to be like when I get to Ushiwaka in the manga. And at the end of the chapter he's introduced, I get to see his stat spread page, and it's just going to be it's either going to be full
Sevens.
maxes or he's going to break the fucking scale because that man's.
That man is a building disguise.
He
as a
actually-
fucking...
What's funny is Ushiwaka actually
Volleyball
might
player.
not have full maxed out stats because I think on the Haikyuu stat wheel is a couple of things he actually might not
I think
be
his speed
fully.
might not be that good.
His power, well, like they like what I think like I want to say. See, it's tricky because like you would think like receive would probably go under technique. I want to say on their wheel, and like notoriously that man doesn't fucking receive ever. That's his
He
whole
doesn't
bit.
need to.
No, he,
His
exactly.
whole bit is like
he
I
has
don't
a
need to do
team.
anything.
He has a team.
I'm here to score.
Very different athlete comparatively to this guy. Because this guy just fucking he probably doesn't need a doubles partner. He probably could play doubles alone
He
if he
is the
wanted
double
to.
partner.
His best double partner would be a second him.
His best double partner is his left hand.
The only one who beats me is me.
Michael, you're out.
Also, it's already?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yep.
God,
Yeah.
that's
There
so
were one,
weird.
two, three. There were three
Mixed
shows.
really
Three
no
shows
or
in
not.
between that.
It's just
Ew.
gross to me to like move over to this after. Okay. It's all guys mixer. So we get three main bits this episode. One per couple. Some of them kind of like coincide. Some of them are longer than the others. So we get Hagi and Kohaku. Where we see most of this doesn't actually have Kohaku in it for the first like half of it. Hagi's out with his sister. They're at a bar, izakaya. They're at somewhere getting drunk. His sister is fucking plastered. She is, yeah. And she's like, you gotta show me that hunk again. And he's like, no. Also, and then she like throws up or something, or she like falls over. I mean, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go. Bring you outside. He just leaves her outside.
He has to go
leaves the
pay.
person
He has to
Yeah,
go pay.
Let me just goes.
That is
Sit
something
here.
that happens normally in Japan too. Is you just let the drunk people be drunk on the street. It's fine.
I just think it was really funny. He's like, sit here. Immediately doesn't sit there.
Well, she spots him. She spots
Yeah.
the hunk.
She definitely does it because they are in two completely. She wanders and finds her. There's no way because she's out on the middle of a street outside a bar, and Kohaku's at a train station, so she wanders a fair bit.
No. Well,
No, there are those restaurants like inside train stations.
I think she
Yeah,
also
they're
just
probably
might have
pretty close
followed
to
her
the train
because
station.
Haku was helping another drunk person get to the train from the bar.
There's also a train station every like 14 steps in Japan. But like,
I think the scenery is
there
different enough
often
that it
cases,
did
right?
not convey to
Oh,
me
yeah.
that she walked 5
I know.
steps and stumbled into
if,
Kohaku.
but, like,
it's one thing where it's like it feels like she's supposed to have noticed her, but yeah, it also reads very differently. It's like maybe she walked a little farther. I don't know.
No, those kinds of izakayas are like in or under the train station a lot of the times. Like they are very, very close proximity to train stations, so it's very plausible that she would have just seen them and just chased after them like a couple steps.
But yeah, Hagi's sister. I don't think we ever actually get her name. If we do, I don't remember it, nor do I care to look it up.
Hagitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hagitsu.
electric boogaloo.
Hagitsu.
That's just how anime would do it.
In Hagitsu.
But yeah, so she's talking to Kohaku, and Kohaku's like, "Damn, I got another drunk person to deal with." Gik. She was walking people home from the bar, and they have a little chat about Hagi, because Hagi's sister already is reading the tea leaves here and goes, "Yeah, Hagi's like super into this guy in quotation marks," because like it's like. To everyone that isn't Kohaku, it is the most obvious thing ever. And this essentially all leads to Hagi's sister going, like what Hagi's his type is. It's like petite, cute girls, which is like the exact opposite of the thing we've seen Kohaku as, but also kind of what it seems like she is when she's outside of the male persona. We truly don't know. Hagi goes and picks up his sister. The two of them chat for a little bit, whatever. That bit's done. I want to say next is Asagi and Fuji.
I mean, I'll let you know you're doing this in reverse order, but you're fine to keep going
I
because
could have
it does not matter.
started it.
Nope.
That was how. it
No,
happened.
they're the end of it.
Oh,
I was just gonna let you go though because
I thought
Let
the
him
Suicide
cook,
Squad
Sean.
did
Let
it.
him cook.
it doesn't matter, which is why I'm not gonna correct him.
Yeah, because I mean, there are three separate events that happen like on the same within like the same week. I
If you
could have
want,
sworn
if
it
you
ended
want to
with
get
all the Suo
if you want to
stuff.
get technical, it starts with Suo. It takes a break for the Fuji stuff. It goes back to Suo and then it ends on Kohaku.
Ah.
But
yeah, Fuji and Asagi, these two, my little beans. God, he has gone beyond Golden Retriever to just being dog.
He is just.
He's just dude.
He has become
He is dude.
dog.
So I'm trying to remember the context of how this started. I think they're just like
They go
on
to
the phone, like texting. They just go to the bar.
Yeah.
I guess Asagi just like visits her at the bar.
yeah, they just go to the bar together.
Yeah. They go to the bar together, and then
Yeah, and then
he-
Asagi spills liquid on himself because he's a fucking dumbass.
He's
Yes.
a dog.
They strip
And-
him.
Dogs don't have
They
thumbs.
strip his shirt. He's not wearing anything under his hoodie. Just pure hoodie.
Yeah, no, they strip him, and then the other person at the bar at that time goes,
Yeah.
I'll go bring down the laundromat and clean it. And then they go, well, we can't just have him sitting here in his underwear. That'd be weird for anyone that isn't Fuji. And then so they have him put on an extra of the suit that they wear, which leads to him just kind of being at the bar when a customer comes in, and the customer, there's like a whole like 3-minute interaction with the customers just chatting with him, they're vibing. Fuji goes, "Nuh-uh, you're getting a little too close to him. That's my dog. Come here."
That's my dog.
She literally says, "Stand up, come here," and pets him under the chin. I'm
And,
just saying.
and
He's a good boy.
she literally imagines him
What do you
as a
want her to do?
small
He's a
dog
good boy.
between the two of them.
But yeah, and then she goes, "Okay, now I'm satisfied." And as this is happening, because the chin kind of gestures towards that area, the woman goes, "Oh, that's actually a dude.
That's a real dude.
Wait a second. That
That's
person has
actually a
an
good
Adam's apple."
boy.
Guy.
That's straight. Ew. In my gay bar?
not boy moding, just boy.
Person goes back that they apologize. Fuji goes, "Okay, but it was really funny though."
Really,
Uh,
really wonderful visual segment we get here where the other associate apologizes, Fuji apologizes, and then he apologizes, and then the associate goes, "You don't need to apologize," and in big letters it goes, "Culprit," and an arrow points down at Fuji. Their fault.
Wait.
Then they go back to Fuji's apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, then they go to Fuji's house because these two are just like dating at this point, but they just don't call it that.
Side note, by the way, because it's part of this scene, the fucking conscience bit that Fuji has of "you shouldn't do this" versus "it'd be really funny though."
It's
It's,
bit.
the bit would be so good
Yo,
though.
Fuji.
I love that way of thinking.
After this all happens, Fuji
to
makes
know.
Asagi another drink. So I think it's the exact same drink that he has at the beginning of the segment. It looks very similar. I don't know. It's a red drink. And he goes, "You look like really cool when you're shaking or doing the little shaker thing. I kind of want to learn how to do that." And then they go over to Fuji's house after. Then we have this crazy setup scene where Fuji goes, "Okay, so I need you to strip and go wait for me in the bathroom." And I go, "Huh?"
You're gonna strip? Take these swim trunks. Bathroom.
You get the rock like eyebrow. It's just like,
And so
love
I'm like, this is gonna be crazy. What's gonna happen here?
oh shit.
Here's also your weekly reminder that Fuji's fucking stacked.
I love that every single time we get a scene between these two, it always starts off as the most like, "Oh God, Are we gonna get
fuck,
like?
oh no,
are we
fuck.
gonna go all the way here?
Can I watch this at home?
And then it just turns out to be the most wholesome thing ever.
Yeah, and then that Fuji comes in. As you see her like silhouetting the glass on the bathroom, you're like, oh, and she comes in and she's holding an at-home bar set because she wants to teach him how to do the little shaker thing, which he's really bad at. Yippee!
It's also
And
not
the
a
reason
good.
they're-
It's not a good
also a cheap
mixer.
ass
either.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also it's a very bad set, and if you hold it slightly wrong, it'll just explode.
She's
Which
setting
he
him up for
does
failure.
that a lot. The reason they're in the bathroom and why he's wearing swim trunks is that she knew it would explode a lot, so they didn't have to clean his clothes 15 times. He's just not wearing anything, which also still, you know what, crazy. It's still crazy thing to happen. But yeah, we get a cute little time with them. God, these two are. It's crazy that these two aren't officially dating yet. Maybe. Who really knows at
We're
this
gonna
point?
we're gonna get the part where someone's gonna ask him and is gonna be like, "So are you and Fuji dating?" He's gonna be like, "Yeah,
we not?
you didn't know that? I just assumed we had been from the time where I
that's
slept
weird.
over at her house."
And Fuji's just gonna be like, oh.
Cool.
Biggest player ever.
Cool.
I love that it, like they say too, like he sleeps over there all the time.
He just lives there now.
Yeah, no, he's at the bar and he goes, "So, am I going over your house later?" And she goes, "Sure." It's like,
Yeah,
this
the
is thing they're doing.
The customer is there and it's like, "How well do you know each other?" And he's like, "I go over to their house every once in a while. You know, we're close."
We vibe, we hang.
We fuck. What?
Am I?
So Suo.
Yeah, and this Suo thing. So Suo and Tokyo. Suo takes a second to be in this because, or no, I think Suo's there from the beginning. So the whole crux of this bit is that we get the return of the prince, the Hime-sama or the Prince-sama fan of the fangirls. And
Fucking loved them.
these are the two that witnessed the prince kiss in quotation marks Tokyo while he was drunk / out cold the one time. We don't actually know what happened. It seemed like it was a kiss based off like the things that happen around it. And now we also see Tokyo with Suo outside of the drag clothing because she's taking clothing because any day she has a closing shift, she doesn't need to go to school in the male clothing. So essentially these two girls see him back and forth with both the prince and Suo. And go, he's a two-timing bitch. That scumbag.
And their collective
That
IQ is
man
-5.
Yeah. And we have so many bits where they're like, oh, I get it now. It's entirely possible. Not zero chance, but like it's entirely possible. You're like, oh, they're gonna connect it. And they say the most outlandish possible connection. That it's like, the prince is heartbroken, stuck at home, or it's some absolute nonsense. The things that go through these two girls' minds during this. Suo strings this whole thing along because she's the goober. And Tokyo doesn't understand anything.
Yeah, Tokyo is like, "What do you mean I can't be friends with the same person twice?" Because he doesn't understand that that's not what they're talking about.
He's just like, are you stupid?
I mean, fair enough. They did witness Suo in the prince clothing kiss him in quotation marks in the izakaya. So like, you know what? There's kind of room there.
And Suo does not help this by going, "Oh, that girl's my sister. Deal with
Yeah.
it."
Suo's like, how can I create more of a problem for him?
It would, you know what would also be really funny? Suo thinks.
Yeah. The show's just fun.
Troublemakers, all of them.
These three segments are all just so fun.
This is a great episode.
It's such a
Good
good
time.
episode. The show's just fun.
It is
Five
crazy.
Angus's and
I liked
Big
everything about
Angus.
this episode. I thought it was fantastic.
It's crazy that Suo and Tokua are like the least developed of these pairings. Like, at this point, kind of. Like, they've made no progress in the past, like, 3 weeks, however long it's been.
It's fine, is what she'll say.
But Tokyo was just oblivious.
He's you.
Yes.
He's our favorite queen.
He's you, Michael. I lived with you for 4 years. He's you.
Damn, Michael.
He knows. He knows exactly what I'm referring
Michael,
to.
congrats on being Tokyo.
Dog.
Does that just make me the fucking good boy one?
Yes.
Shit.
Look, it's Asagi.
None of us are fucking disastrous enough to be fucking high G though. So we're fine.
What?
Well, that's hey man, that's all. That's all. I'll leave that ball in your court if you want to pass it. I ain't doing that.
No, it's
No,
fine.
that's okay.
That's what
It's
I
fine.
thought.
Everything's fine.
No, this is a great episode. I wish personally. I wish
Got you there.
I
No,
wish
no, I'm not doing
personally
that.
for me, like I can't put this any higher. That's all it is, right? Like there's a threshold for me of
Yeah.
like I really liked what the other show that's above it did this week, and I really liked that show as well, and like this is all a good time. So for me, it's like I'm gonna be frank. I will bottom show this week. That's the show I'm voting. You're not getting me to vote anything else off. That's the point I'm at with this with the setup because I think all of our shows are good at this point.
Yeah.
I just think it's a preference on
Sure.
where you lie with it, right? On each one.
Probably.
And again, this has always felt like the show where it's like you have to be this good to clear, and it's like if you have a week where you're not that good, like you don't clear it, and that's just how it goes. And Our Guys Mixers really fucking settles it. Again, I don't know what this show would have to do to break into top 3 this season. I couldn't tell you. It's fucking firing on all cylinders, and it's great the whole time.
Good time.
It would have to be
Okay.
produced by like Cloverworks, I guess. I don't know.
We
Their
love
17th show
Cloverworks
this season.
household.
Me double checking this isn't done by Cloverworks. It's not.
Cloverworks has never made
I am
any grave
certain
errors.
It's
ever
not made
before.
by Cloverworks.
No, it's Asi Productions.
I've never been hurt by Cloverworks multiple times. In the same season.
Yeah, no, I agree. This show's really funny. I like our love pairings. They're all wonderful. The good boys and the dumb boys, and the tomboys. So
All of them.
yeah, I'm excited to probably, hopefully, maybe watch more of this show, but we'll see.
I think we will.
More
I
than
think
likely will.
I think we will.
But yeah, it's a good time. Austin, good luck.
Good luck.
You know what's next.
Orb.
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 So last
That's
episode we
pretty
left off with
straightforward.
Yolenta posting the solution to Oxy and Badeni's mathematical problem. And just as Oxy and Badeni are coming up and are like, hey, are you the one who solved this problem? And because she's a woman, she's like, no, I didn't solve this problem. It was my master. It was definitely my master, yeah. And so
That guy.
and so they're like, hey, okay, so can you pass a message to your master? And she's like, no, he'll be out of town for a while.
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. Yeah, no, you can't talk to them. And then they're like, okay, yeah, can you take us to can you like take down a message for your master and like, somewhere private, which is totally a great thing to be telling a 14-year-old girl.
Child, take these 2 adult men somewhere private.
It's okay.
And-
One of them's with the church. It's fine.
That church.
Yeah.
14th century Poland. It's fine.
best moment was Jack.
Yeah, that helps. So they go into a meeting room where I think it's Yolenta's room, right? Where basically, or on the way, but then he's like, yeah, it's okay. If things go wrong, we can just call her a witch and let her take the fall. And also Oxy's a little confused. He thinks that there is a master, whereas Badeni just kind of scouts out, yeah, no, she's the one that actually put this up. She's just bullshitting. And so they go into Yolenta's room and they just question her about like, oh, have you ever heard of like this heretic and this heretic and this heretic? Yes, no. Oh, that's fantastic. What if I was telling you that?
Hear me out.
Hear me out. Maybe we're researching one of those. How do you feel about that? To which she just kind of she kicks them out after they talk about a globe with America missing. Because we're not at that point in history yet.
Poland.
But she boots them out, and because she does not want to hear any more heresy. goes to tell Kobe to snitch on them to Kobe, but Kobe's gonzo because they're at the meeting with Count Piast, who was introduced last
Yep.
episode. So she goes and sneaks out to hear the meeting about the Count Piast meeting, and where she's like, "Oh, Count Piast is where she is at. Count Piast is like dying." His goal is to make his model perfect because he wants to find the truth, right? And so she gets up and she's thinking, and she gets caught by Count Piast, who is like,
Fastest dying man I've ever seen.
yeah, is like, aren't you working for me? And she's like, oh yeah, thank you for remembering me. It's like, you're on my payroll. You better be doing good. Like, why haven't you submitted anything? And he also like scopes out that she's just kind of turning in her work under Kobe's name, so she doesn't get prejudiced.
Burned at the stake, usual stuff.
The safe thing. To which she goes back to meet with Bedeni and Oxy and says and gets a little bit of courage to say, no, I am the master. I have no master. I did this work. I am also part of Count Piast's
School.
Nah,
Payroll.
I am under Count Piast's payroll, which means I have a lot of access to astronomical records. Are you down? And Bedeni's and Oxy are like, no. Count Piast is like very much into geocentrism. That's basically his life work. We can't. There's no way he's gonna help us. And Yolanta's like, but he is in pursuit of the truth. And if what if you guys are saying is the truth, then I think he might hear you out. And so they go see Count Piast, and he doesn't hear them out. He just kicks them out.
It's so fucking funny.
It's so quick. And we get like this little flashback of Count Piast when he was younger, with a golden astrolabe. Astrolabe. Why is there an E at the end of that? And
English is three words, is three languages in a trench coat.
Woo! Yeah, we get a little flashback of Count Piast when he was younger. Basically getting kicked out of his family to study astronomy, and and because of his like good eyesight, he was entrusted with the golden astrolabe to do observations to prove find the perfect model, the perfect theory. And he's just like thinking, it's like, man, what if it is true? And then the episode ends.
This episode rules. There's a couple of things that I think are really rad about this episode. Mainly Count Piast, because he is the most confused man I've ever seen in his old age, in that he actively is like, everything. He's like, I will take anyone and everyone. I will let you do the research you want in pursuit of the truth. But do remember that it is a sin to do what you're doing, and that you should maybe not do it. Just consider that. It's really funny that he walks up to her and is like, have you considered coming to the meetings? And she goes, I can't do that. I'm a woman. I can't do that. They won't let me. And he goes, because you're a woman? And she goes, yes. And he goes, and how do you feel about that? And she goes, this is a trick question. And he goes, deal with it.
Uh-huh.
He is great. And then it's kind of clear that it feels like he just got caught up in the way other people think along the way, right? Like, he's been doing this research that his mentor had done, and his mentor very much strikes you as like a guy who does not care if what he finds out is blasphemous or heresy. And like, Count Piast was probably that when he was younger, and then as he's gotten older and he's had to make sure he doesn't get fucking murdered at the stake, he's like, he's kind of muddled that opinion, and he's slowly lapsing back on it now, where it's like, no, this is actually exactly what I was interested to do. I should probably side with them. The other scene that I think is incredibly funny is the first time that Bedeni is walking, and it is explained to Ozzy, and Bedeni goes, yeah, this is great for us. It's a woman. This is best case scenario. And then on their way back, he's like, no, she's gonna come back and work with us. And Ozzy's like, because she's a woman. He goes, no, not this time. This time it's because she's a scholar. She's a scholar. I love Bedetti. He's so funny, and not an ounce.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say not an ounce of regret in his voice, where he's like, and if this goes wrong, to the stake with that witch. We were deceived, good churchman.
Bedetti is so funny because he knows exactly what he's about and will not deviate from it, no matter what.
My boy Ozzy, my boy Ozzy out here with fucking -5 wisdom. Man can't perceive anything beyond his eyesight. I born with fucking 20/20 vision, but can't read the room for the life of him.
Yeah.
He's doing his best.
Bro can see the stars like nobody else, but can't see social cues for shit.
I really like this dynamic they're setting up of unfortunately everybody who's really into astronomy has shit eyesight, so we need to find like the 2 people in the world who have really good vision. And it happened to be young Count Piast, fucking Raphael, and now Ozzy. It's very funny. I like the way they set up these dynamics.
I think it is very funny how in there's once when they're like first talking to her in the room, it's essentially just Bedetti and Yolenta talking, and anytime you look at Bedetti, you just see kind of Oxy just like sitting in the corner, just staring at the camera.
Yeah.
Bro, there's nothing to add to these conversations.
He's like, I haven't heard of any of these people. Who are they?
He's like, yes.
Hello, Floor.
Why am I here?
There is one scene that does upset me a little, and it's Count Piast's speech in the lecture, and it's what the episode's fucking named after, and it's him going, yeah, Icarus. The problem with Icarus was that he didn't listen to his father's warning, which that part's fine. And he goes, what Icarus needed was steel wings. And I go, no, you fucking idiot, he would still die. That's not the problem. You missed the moral. That also won't work. It's the sun. It's just really funny to be like, yeah, the problem was the wax wings. We should make it better. Steel. And I'm like, 14th century Poland. I get it, but god damn it.
I mean, in the most basic sense, like he's not far off, honestly. Like planes.
But planes don't. Get me a plane that can fly to the sun, and I don't think it's gonna work out well for it either.
Like rocket ships.
Okay, that's different.
Same concept.
They aren't made out of the same things. Because we don't make all airships to fly to the sun. On the other hand, I still really like that scene because you can look at it as somebody who wants to aspire to achieve something so beyond what is reasonable in the moment that they look at the story of Icarus and they go, I could do that, which is exactly the point of the story of Icarus. And absolutely nobody in this story right now is safe from hubris and fucking dying from trying to get too close to what they want in their life. So it is, in my opinion, also apt that he goes, the solution to wax wings, steel wings. And I go, you're still probably gonna die, old man. Let's hope you die from illness and old age and not the church. He really does fucking hustle his ass, his sick-ass old man ass, over to find her.
It's so funny that he does that shit, and then the next time we see him, he's laid the fuck out.
Look, some days you have good days, some days you have bad days, you know?
He had to really exert himself to get to find her, you know?
I'd be interested in John's thoughts, but I think he flew too close to the sun. He's just gone.
No, he did send us his thoughts.
He flew too close to the bathroom, and he's there permanently right now.
Yeah, the bathroom is a bathroom.
The bathroom
or really good. Yoletta saying "fuck it, we ball" is great. I assume this is just autocorrect. Hopefully,
probably.
And said, "I like the We could just call her a witch and be safe escape plan." You know.
I like to assume he doesn't.
Good points, John.
I like to assume he doesn't know her name.
I mean, he was close. I mean, he did start with a Y, and I do believe he starts with a J.
It does, but also Polish.
I mean, it is also pronounced Yolenta with like the Y sound, but like the
Why does she wear
Whatever.
pink? She wears like one of the
Woman?
brightest. She wears one of the brightest colors she could wear for someone who sneaks around.
Right?
Dude, it doesn't seem like she gets to choose a lot of what she does around there.
You know what? Very good point. It is probably her dad probably gave it to her and went, "This will make sure she doesn't get into trouble."
Yeah.
The color pink. I just really like the idea of Bedeni being like, "She'll show up, don't worry," and Ozzy being like, "How do you know that?" And he goes, "You can't see the pink silhouette walking down the alleyway. Your eyes are good, man. Open them." Well, if that is all the thoughts on Orb, we move along.
Is it me?
It is you. It do be
So
you.
Yakuza Fiancé this week. So we start off where we left off last episode where Yoshino was calling Kirishima to tell him that she had found Ozu Kento, who is the guy that was blackmailing now Shioda. Yeah, Shioda. There are a lot of names in this show. And at this point, Kirishima is in the hotel room with Now, talking to Yoshino, where she's telling him, "Hey, I found Kento. He's doing this because the guys that we beat the fuck out of when they came to go take that other like rival Yakuza head's daughter, yeah, they want to kill us because they have grudges and they're angry assholes. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna listen to me and you're gonna do everything I say, and we're gonna get out of this." And Kirishima goes, "Cool, definitely. Promise I'm gonna do that." And then immediately doesn't do that. He takes Now to a karaoke bar or a karaoke like venue, puts her in a room that Yoshino told him to go to, and then calls Shoma and goes, "Hey, bro, I never wanted to call you because I fucking hate you, but we're in trouble, and I left Yoshino at this karaoke bar. Here's the room. Here's the directions. Go get her, please. I have some shit to take care of." And Shoma goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Fuck, I hate you. God, okay." And goes. Yoshino, we also get a scene with Kento where he meets with his, I think, brother, ? Who is very much a Yakuza from a rival gang, who says literally nothing and just looks imposing, as Kento tells him that he doesn't want to do this shit, but he'll do it for him,
I do not
because he's scared.
I do not think they're brothers by last names.
I don't. Yeah, it's just someone he's like respects and is like the head of like a well-known figure in his like family. I think. And then Yoshino calls Kirishima, or Kirishima calls Yoshino, and is like, "Hey, so I know I told you I would do all those things, but I left Now at the karaoke place. You told me I'm going to go take care of this, kill Kento. Also, I let them know where I was going to be because I want to fuck with them." And he sends Kento and his goons like a map and everything of where he's at just to say fuck you. He then calls Yoshino and is like, "Hey, sorry about that, but I'm going to go take care of this." And we see Yoshino go full like Yakuza family member, and just telling him like, "You're a fucking dead man. I'm going to kill you. I hate you so goddamn much." And to this, he responds with, "Yep, okay, that seals the deal. I want to marry you. If I get through this and don't die, and I do it by tomorrow at midnight, can we get married?" She goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? We're getting tailed, and people are threatening our lives. Why the fuck do you think this is a good time to do this?" And he goes, well, I'm of the opinion that this was the perfect time to do it because, one, what you just said sealed the deal for me, but also I am of the firm belief that there is no one else I could marry but you, and I don't think you could marry anyone else but me. I just don't think it would work out. So let's do this. I have a bet. I'll do all of this. I'll get it done my way. And if I do, I understand that marriage is a big deal. But just make me your boyfriend. Like, let's make this an actual thing. And she goes, I'm going to kill you, I swear. Fine. If you do this, sure, whatever. I'll make you my boyfriend. That does not change how I feel about you in the slightest. I think that's where we leave off. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked this episode, honestly. Like, this is kind of what I needed from this show. I really enjoyed seeing Yoshino like fully kind of come into her own of, yeah, she is the granddaughter of a Yakuza boss. This makes sense. And she's like actually coming up with a solid plan of like, this is how we take care of this. We take care of the problem efficiently. We don't get in harm's way. And Kirishima going, nah, no, chaos. I'm finally starting to really enjoy these characters and like the roles that they fill. Unfortunately, I'm just of the opinion that it's a bit too little, too late. We are on episode 8, and I shouldn't just now start liking these characters, I feel. But what do you guys think?
The episode was fine. There were parts of it I liked. I especially like at the end, Yoshino doing Yoshino things. Yoshino's favorite part of the show. Love her. She's great. I do really love her. Doing her little date with Uzo or whatever his name is.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Where she pretends to get, or where she keeps, but she somehow set up beforehand that every time she asks for alcohol, they give her non-alcoholic shochu. God, that must suck. Because like shochu already sucks ass, so like non-alcoholic, you're just drinking
What?
actual dog shit.
L take from Michael. Soju's great.
See,
That's an
the
L
issue
take.
is, I don't like alcohol.
That's different.
But like, imagine drinking alcohol and not getting drunk. That sounds terrible.
It's just juice,
That's
bro.
even worse.
It's just juice, is what that means.
Haven't you ever seen those memes with the bottle of soju where it's like, oh, this is a great drink, and then the bottom half is like dancing naked in the streets of
Wow, this doesn't even taste like alcohol. Why is it next week?
But yeah, it was great. I did really like seeing Yoshi like actually doing her own thing there. To then Kirishima immediately fuck up all of it. I was like, damn, okay,
based.
The checks.
man,
Man.
he has a plan.
Sean?
I want to let John and Austin talk first.
So I thought this was really good. I like the setup behind it. I like their dynamic at the end of this episode and the phone call. I thought was fucking awesome. Where he's like, "No, I'm doing my own shit." She's like, "No, do my shit."
Oh, you cut out, John.
Fine, I'll do my shit. You do your shit, and we're gonna.
And if I win, you're gonna get married to me. She's like, "Whoa! If I win, you'll call me your boyfriend." Why? But I personally just love that bit between the two. I think it was really well executed. I think both characters both have their motives, and I think it's nice to see them both be involved in like Yakuza stuff, I guess. And I love her dynamic of going, "No, you're in my fucking house now. We're playing by my fucking rules. You don't think I know how to get shit done over here?" Because the show hasn't really shown her doing Yakuza stuff so much because she's just trying to adapt to like the new environment, right? And so I personally liked it for that reason in this episode. And that's why I just like happened to have it a little bit higher up on my list than a couple other shows, because I like that it's doing stuff right now, if that makes sense. And I really like like I said, the end dynamic between the two I thought was really good. What do you think about it, Austin?
Yeah, I thought this episode was like really, really good. It's definitely like a breath of like we kind of got hints of it last episode with like Yoshino actually doing more badass things and being actually involved with like her Yakuza lineage. But seeing it in like a little bit more in action and like seeing how she doesn't go the whole I'm going to just punch my way through everything, the standard Yakuza approach. Seeing the difference of like her approaches of I will do things methodically versus Kirishima's I will just beat the shit out of everybody is like very, very cool and refreshing to see.
Law and order.
And then Shoma getting just dragged around by the neck by both of them is honestly kind of funny, but
Shows up. Where's she at? Where's who at? She's supposed to be over there. Fucking Kirishima, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. Like, you say is this the meeting for the Kirishima fan club? But I really liked how the episode has been like developing this kind of plot line. I guess it's still a little bit disconnected from like how she knows everything, but like she says, like this is her territory. Of course she knows everything here. Her grandfather is like the Yakuza in this area.
So I do think this show has gotten better from where it started to where it is now. I think the past couple episodes have been an upswing for it. I do really enjoy the stuff we are getting with Yoshino. I really dig the golden eye thing they do. I think it's a really cool visual aesthetic to tune you in when people go batshit insane. It's really neat. For a show that is not focused on it and a show that is kind of low budget, they do a good job capturing the weight behind the Yakuza fight scenes. Every punch Shoma throws, every interaction he has in combat feels like a Yakuza fight scene you would see out of a Yakuza game. Very good. It is well done. My problems with this show are still my problems with this show. I don't think anything has largely been resolved in that manner. I don't think that the answer to why do you know this, like how have you figured this out, the holdover answer is this shit's my town. I know it. That's a lazy answer. I'm sorry. Like I get that that's true, but I need more than that. You're my main character. Like the problem is this is a part 1 of 3. I'm not going to get my answers for this till 2 more episodes in probably. We do so much writing to avoid answers and confrontation in this show that it grains on me. Even the end conversation where they're making this deal, they don't even fucking solidify anything. Because Kirishima actively goes to her, like she has the conversation where she goes, no, this isn't gonna be a you win or you win or you lose. It's a you win, I win. And he goes, cool, what are your rules? And she doesn't lay them down clearly. Her answer is either you'll be on top or I'll be on top. What the fuck does that mean in the context of this situation? And then they banter. They completely change topics and they banter and they don't solidify their fucking ground rules for the competition we've set into. And the episode ends with him going, I am in the spot I need to be in. Bitch, what does that mean? You seem to be at some kind of fireworks festival. The fuck you doing? Really to me, it's that this show's writing is not where I want it to be engaging enough for me. And I'm just not sold on a lot of I was not sold quick enough on its other stuff for me to be on board. I still think this is our weakest show of the pack. And that's just where I fall on it.
Sure. No, that's fair.
And that.
Part of me, like my brain goes, yeah. I remember, like in the end, as I thought the whole setup with like her, the Kirishima, the Mary date thing. I was like, that's really funny, and I was like, oh look, it's this show again doing the thing where it's really big moment is checks notes the last 30 seconds of it every single fucking time.
But that's also what you're going to get when your episodes are multi-part, right? So, like, I give it that. Like,
Yeah.
you know it's a multi-part episode because it says that part 1 there. So you know you're not getting the full conclusion. But it's the same thing I say with every show that does a multi-part episode when it's on this podcast. We watch you weekly. You have to really fucking kill that. Like, I have to really be invested if you're doing multi-part because you have to convince me that you deserve to be here for your full arc, right? And we are at the late stage, where a multi-part late stage means you're doing like a big climactic finish. I still don't really care about the actual plot thing happening. I have no reason to care about this actual conflict, like, with this guy and this group. Like, you are here for Kirishima and Yoshino at this point, right? And it's like, it is odd to do a big arc about something that we don't have the context to why we should care that they're even getting involved with them. Outside of girls are getting kidnapped. You're in a fucking Yakuza precinct. Duh. Like, problems are gonna happen. It's not enough for me. Well, yeah. That is gonna move us over to negative positive angler. A very, I would almost argue, self-contained episode this week from negative positive angler. We are focusing on Machida. We find out that we are reminded that we were informed that he is divorced. And that he is getting his son visitation. His son is coming to town, and he is contemplating what he should get his son. To which everyone goes, "Why don't you stop thinking of getting him something and start thinking of what you're gonna do when he's here?" And he goes, "Good idea." And they start thinking of ideas, and he's not quite sure what his son would like to do. And he strikes gold. He goes, "I'll just do what I like to do. We'll go fishing." And everyone, because they're all fucking freaks, goes, "Yeah, great idea. We all love fishing, so your son must love fishing too." Which, with no context, might seem like it's a bad plan, but we'll get into it. Everybody pitches a different fishing idea, and he shoots down every single one of them, to which all of them start to get annoyed. They're like, "Why'd you ask us?" And he goes, "Know what, Hero? Your idea was good. We're gonna go after those fish. They're small, they're easy, they're beginner friendly. This is perfect." And he goes the next morning to meet up with his son at the train station, and fucking Hiro, Hana, and Takaki are all there, and he goes, "Why are you guys here?" And they go, "Well, you're going fishing. We're gonna go fishing. We all want to fish too. We'll keep our distance. It's fine. You don't gotta worry about us." And then Hana's peeking around pillars trying to get a look at his wife and his kid and get the big old scoops. And they make their way to go fishing. Machida starts talking to his son. He's not doing too hot. He is not aware of the speed of which his son's education moves, which, to be fair, his son's in 3rd grade and he's taking entrance exams to middle school. So you know what? I don't particularly blame him. Even by Japan standards, it's not something I'm used to hearing. Sounds like his kid's a fucking genius or some shit.
And in Japan, I'm pretty sure middle school starts in 7th grade. I want to say it's 3 and 3 for middle and high, so the elementary's just a year longer.
His kid's cooking.
Yeah, his kid's
a
fucking
fucking nerd.
silly.
Yeah. And we kind of get a pretty good grasp that his son doesn't hate fishing. He doesn't seem opposed to this. He actually seems like he's ready to go and enjoys the idea of it. And they wind up pulling up one of the fish after a little bit. And Machida tells his son a bit about it, and his son fucking loves the facts. His son loves getting information about aquatic life. And then Machida blows it because he's like, "Okay, you catch some stuff. You catch one of these fish at a certain size, and I'll give you whatever you want, anything you want, kid. I'll get you any gift under the sun." And his son's like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna go walk away and fish on my own. Bye, Dad." To which Machida panics, and Hana goes, "Okay, Hiro, Takaki's in the bathroom, so it's up to you. You go keep an eye on the kid. I'm gonna go try to boost this man's spirits. He is as low as he's gonna get today. So good luck." Hiro walks up to Machida's son, and he panics. He's never once talked to a child before in his life. He doesn't know how to communicate. And the worst thing possible happens. 4 more children show up. He can't handle 1, let alone 5. And they're all out here spitting facts about fish. And his son goes, "What are they referring to?" And Hiro goes, "I don't fucking know, dude. I'm new at this too. Well, we better go ask him." And we cut over, and Hana explains, trying to win your son over with gifts and prizes is not what he's here for. He's here to spend time with you. You were doing good. You can recover this. And Hiro and Machida's son come on over, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck does this mean?" And they go, "Oh, that's a sea." They're talking about sea bass, like big sea bream. They're talking about like big sea bream fishes. And the kid goes, "Why are they here in freshwater if they're a saltwater fish?" And he goes, "Brackish water." And he explains the science behind it, and his kid fucking loves that. Because he's here to learn. He's here to learn. And his son goes, "Okay, So if I catch a really big one of those, will you give me the thing I want? And he goes, well, what's that? And he goes, I want you to move back home. And everybody in the room goes, that's a great idea. Machida goes, guys, come over here a minute. I need to explain to you that you can't agree to this for me because this is not, I don't have control over this. My wife doesn't want me to move back home. We can't just tell the kid yes. And Hana goes, hear me out. No one has ever seen a fish that big in this river. And he goes, fine. And so they start getting ready to do some fishing. And he goes, you hungry? And his son goes, no. And he goes, I am thirsty though. And he goes, cool, I'll go get you a drink. And he goes, guys, go watch on my kid. And he talks to his son. He's like, it's getting late. We should probably call it, bucko. And he goes, no. We are hitting the perfect time where if I'm going to catch sea bream, it's going to happen right now because we didn't get here early enough and they only show up at dawn and dusk. So I'm going to stay and we're going to fish, Dad. And Mom's going to be okay with it because I'm a big boy and I ride buses to cram school. And he goes, oh shit, I can't argue with that. And we find out that at when they were prepping to get the bigger fish, Machida switches out the line so that it is a thicker line so he has an easier time getting bigger fish. And Machida walks away. I think this is when he goes and he gets the drinks. And while he's away, his son manages to pull up a sea bream. And everyone rushes on over, and they pull it out of the water, and everyone's excited. And he goes, and Hiro realizes that the line's different, and he goes, I'm actually to switch the line for you. And his son goes, we should put the fish back in the water. And Hiro goes, why the fuck would you want to do that? You just caught a big-ass fish. This is what you wanted. And Takaki goes, Hiro, it's fine. When you catch the thing you want to catch, the day's done. He doesn't want the day to be done yet. We're gonna put the fish back. And so they put the fish back and they fish a little more and then they get ready to part their ways and at the train station Machida's son goes, Dad, we're gonna fish again. And it's not just gonna be you and me, it's gonna be you, me, and Mom. And Machida literally cannot fucking speak words as his son leaves. And then the group gets ready to head out for the night and Machida's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And Hiro goes, you know what? Me too. And Takaki goes, again, no, not the time. Leave the man alone. And we see that he gets to stare at his new wallpaper, which is a photo of him and his son fishing from today. That I assume Hana took because Hana was taking pictures of them throughout the day. And then he calls up his buddy and he goes, hey, I found out there's some sick sea bream over by the river we can go catch. I need to escape my depression. Let's go fishing tomorrow. And that's where the episode ends. I at first was not the biggest fan of this episode. I thought it is very isolated. It's on its own. It doesn't really move a lot of the things for obviously the main story or Hero along. And then I let a lot of the interactions between Machida and his son sink in, and I realized I really liked how this show handled a lot of it. It is a family dynamic that is not easy to fix. That sometimes you just don't have the actual right answers for, and that not everybody can wind up being happy from how it is resolved. And a lot of how I think Machida acts really makes sense for where he is in his life, and even without full context of what happened in his relationship, in his marriage that caused them to get divorced, it makes a lot of sense that the guy who doesn't seem to get to see his son a lot doesn't really know exactly what he needs to do to connect with him, and he doesn't necessarily believe that just being himself's gonna work. And I really appreciate that him as a dad is like, I can't promise my son I'm gonna go back and live with them. That's just not a realistic promise. And he only kind of gets I kind of give flack to Hana. I think this is another instance of the fishing crew kind of not always being the best influence of them going, no, just say yes, it'll be fine for your kid. Realistically, it works out because his son's smart. His son realizes that what he's asking isn't really possible. He just wants his dad to know that that's what he wants. He would be happy if he got that.
Yeah, he just wants his parents back together, like
yeah,
divorced kids kind of do when they don't really because obviously it's been a while since they've been divorced, right?
Yeah.
And he's not exactly old, but he's old enough to get what the idea of it now.
Yeah.
But at the time, he probably just didn't know.
I think one of the I think one of the really heart-tugging scenes is earlier. His son is talking to him, and he's like, and you start to realize his son really likes fishing because it's one of the core memories he has with his mom and his dad together. And he's like, that time we went out fishing together. And his dad's like, and Mashida's like, I don't remember that vividly because you have to imagine how many times this man has fucking fished in his life. And probably when that happened, it wasn't anything special to him then. He's definitely gonna remember this day. I can tell you that. But like it's one of those things where it's like he doesn't realize how much that fishing trip meant to his son. And I think they execute a lot of this dynamic really well.
I'm gonna be real. This episode had me like really messed up for a bit. Like, just had me really emotional the whole time. And that's why it's so high for me. Is I think I cried twice watching this episode, honestly, just because of like personal stuff with it. Just really kind of hit me specifically really hard. So, but I think that's kind of personal bias, to be fully honest. But also a very good show and how it handles all of these interactions and like these different people interacting with this kid is really like really well done. Also, sound design and OST in this show also slap. So,
Well, now we've had the positive anglers. Do you guys want the negative anglers?
Go.
So my issue with this episode is kind of like similar to what we've some of the complaints that we've had about Yakuza Fiancé, where like early parts of Yakuza Fiancé, it's just like, oh, we're just getting like single or one or two episodes like arcs where we're just introducing a new character. They just talk and
Exist.
and exist, and we continue to like not really care about all the characters in Yakuza Fiancé. We're currently at a point where we've had like 5 or 6 individual episodes like focusing on like a different like cast of negative positive angler, and we haven't really gotten anywhere. This episode, like standalone, we're thinking episodically it was good. Like the interactions with Machida's sons was really touching with the rest of the fishing crew. I totally got baited when
Baited.
shut up. When I was looking at the episode description, it's like, oh, he's an indoor gamer each time, and it just kind of like never got brought up. But like we've had like a lot of these episodes, and we haven't had like any continuing resolution to the umbrella over the head of like Hero's about to die. and we haven't addressed that, and we've like barely touched on that in the past like 5 episodes. And like I'd rather them like actually bring up that point in the episode, like use it as a stepping stone for Hero to like connect with his own family that he's been kind of neglecting for a bit. Like, but it just ends up being like very encapsulated on like Machida and his son, and not about the main character that they've been kind of pushing to be a better person.
I think that's really fair. I mean, I think I said it 4 weeks ago, that like I could tell you this writing was on the wall for this show structure. Like it was super clear in my mind that this is what we were going to do. We were going to do individual character episodes for a while. I think I might have even said up to episode 8, we were probably going to keep doing them based on the number of people we had. And that you might, in some episodes, get stuff that ties you to Hero, and sometimes you might not. And then probably the end stretch of episodes are going to be the ones where we really dive into like the dynamic and the problem that we're addressing. And I completely get that. It's episode 8. This is typically not an episode you would get at episode 8 for a show. But also not every show is an anime original. This isn't coming from source material. So like it's doing whatever the fuck it wants in terms of its episode structure. Like it doesn't have to hit the beats that a manga did. It's not gonna like it's gonna do its own thing and ideally come to its own conclusion unless they're planning for this to go with another season later. But I completely get it. I can definitely see that. Like I said, it's an odd episode.
See, for me, I like the episode's like concept and like the general message behind it, but I don't like the character it's focused around, right? And like, while I get that he's like trying for his son coming into town and he's like putting a lot of effort into it, in the end he's doing a lot of stuff just for himself though, and not much for his actual kid, right? Like, ends up being like, oh, we'll just go fishing because I know that, or oh, we'll just focus on this because I like that. He doesn't really like. He expresses interest in his kid, but he doesn't actually like put forward the effort to know stuff. Like, he doesn't even know what grade he's in. He doesn't know where he's at, like, developmentally, basically, and stuff. He doesn't know really what his hobbies are that much. He has like a general sense, but he's like behind. And I get that like kids change fast, and that happens. But like, he's just kind of like absent from this kid's life for who knows how much, right? And so it's like really frustrating that you don't really get that growth. It's more so like the kid constantly trying to like reach out to his dad, and the dad's going like, "Ooh, fish go burr," which is probably why they got divorced, and that's the whole issue to begin with. But I don't know. For me, it just didn't hit that much with it because I just didn't like how the character that we're following is like the focus, and I didn't like him as a character, if that makes sense. I don't feel like it did a lot. Like, it did some good for him, but I don't feel like it did enough to like redeem some of like the issues I have with him as a character. And like some of the issues with it. Again, like I think like the message behind the episode's good, and I think like in general like it's a good like step for some things. But like Austin's saying, it's like it's been like 5 episodes now, and like we haven't gotten much progression from the main character that the show is about. We're just kind of going fishing with different characters, right? Which is fine, but it's just not like keeping me as invested in the story as like other things would.
Yeah, I will say for Mashita, he knows his son's in 3rd grade. He doesn't understand what his son is doing in 3rd grade. I'm an uncle to 2 nephews. Parents don't fucking know what their kids are doing in school unless they're super active and involved in that. Unless you every day are actively working with them and checking on what they're doing, you don't know what their fucking curriculum looks like. It's not the same from when you were in school, so you can't go off that unless you had unless you had another kid who you actively recently watched go through the education system. You don't know what their fucking curriculum is. I don't blame him for that. The kid doesn't live with him. It's really tough to know your kid's education if they don't live with you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to back this guy and say he's a wonderful father. He's not. That's not the point, right? Like, the idea is there are things he doesn't get. He loosely knows his son's really into gaming. He probably doesn't realize that perhaps his son's into gaming because he just doesn't have another outlet to go do the things he wants to do. His son seems to like fishing. It's a lucky break for him that worked out so well. Perhaps his son would be more into stuff like
that his son is like looking into a lot of fishing stuff because it's his dad's main thing, so he wants to connect with his dad, right?
I think it could be that, but I also think it could be he legitimately had a really good time fishing with his father and his family when he was younger, and if his father was around, he probably would have kept doing it. I'm speaking from somebody who largely got super more into gaming and online content when my parents separated, because you move, because your family dynamic shifts, because you have to adjust to what's going on in your personal life while also balancing school and other shit, and it's just really easy to default to stuff that lets you just get away from it and do that. Like, I'm not saying that's the intention, because we don't know enough about this character to know that, but like, I don't want to chalk it up to entirely just he's so into fishing because he wants to try to like have a good time with his dad. And you know what? Even if that is the case, good on this fucking kid. Very emotionally intelligent kid for where he is at in his life. Also not something uncommon for kids of divorce or separation.
And again, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But my issue with it isn't the kid at all.
Yeah,
right?
no, I know.
It's that we're focused on the characters around Hero and not, and like they're the ones that I have the issues with. Is the problem because this
Yeah.
kid's gonna be a one and done. Let's be honest, we're not coming back to him this show. It might get mentioned in like a flashback somewhere when Hero's recollecting all the good memories he's had with these fishing buddies. But like, it's like I need more for like the main characters to progress. Like, I get like this is supposed to be just like chill show to me, but like to me something needs to happen to help our main character actually grow. Because right now we still are just like at square zero. It feels like we're at like we're at like step 2, right? Of like a 10-step program for him to like mentally become more stable. I guess is kind of my idea behind it. But
Yeah, I'm gonna be
I-
real. I don't inherently expect this show to actually solve any kind of problem
No,
with
I don't
this
either.
because I don't
But-
think you solve man has terminal illness, brain cancer in 13
Gambling
episodes.
problem.
Like I think the idea is you get the character to a better dynamic spot by the end of the season. You don't solve the problems. I don't think you can have the conversations with good impact that you would want out of a show like this without giving the other characters time for you to understand who they are, because their reactions are going to be important when Hero actually starts to open up and talk about his problems. Like
Okay.
Like, I think it's important that we are getting these small episodes with all these casts because how they're all individually going to act when Hero does talk about his problems, we're going to have better insight about why they do those things or say those things because of the time we've gotten with them here.
Yeah, and I don't expect it to do it either. But at the same time, it's like I'm getting
Yeah,
bored
no,
with it, guess,
I
is the
get it.
issue.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're wrong from your point of view. I completely get not being into this. This is a very, like, this and Yakuza to me are two very, like, you like the show or you don't like the show, I feel like. Like, is it your cup of tea, is it not? They're both good shows. Like, I don't think either of them are bad. Like, this is probably the first time in a while we've seen a podcast split on a show so divisively, which is fine. It happens. Michael, you haven't talked a lot.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, and as the name says, it is negative positive, and so we'll end on a positive note here.
You don't know that. Don't give false hope.
Well, no, if I'm the one talking, that is what it's.
Okay.
I mean,
Fair.
I mean,
I get
outside,
it.
outside
I
the part
get
of this
it now.
episode, fucking
I understand what you mean.
ouch. I fucking love this episode. I mirror a lot of the things that like Sean and Mason are saying. I think the emotional core works really well between the two of them. I will say he fucking nails what a third grader's working on. They do work on their multiplication facts. At times, that is like he actually perfectly fucking nails it. Yeah, again, my son's just fucking cracked, but that's outside of that.
It actually is farther ahead now than it was. Because my nephews are in first and second grade, second and third, and they have already partially been doing multiplication now, right? Like it is a little.
You're not
faster.
told to memorize times tables though.
Yeah, that is. I mean, as far as I know, I think you're right. I think that is traditionally around that area. But again, his kid's a fucking super genius.
I like the fact that we see Mashita is flawed in this. He really he isn't in a place to be a father. I like it was really it was really hard to like see him fail at some of the stuff he's doing. Like, he is trying and failing so much at it, and it's like it hurts to watch it, but like in the way you want it to be. Like it is it's showing that he clearly is failing at what he's doing. Because not all these characters are perfect. He is, again, realistically, he is divorced. This is probably the reason. He seems self-centered about a lot of his fishing stuff, and that seems to be a hyper obsession to a point of being a problem. And I think the show does a really good job showing that. And I do also really like the scene at the end with them pulling out the sea bream, and the entire thing surrounding that. It's really good. I do think Sunahiro should have done more than quite literally nothing this episode as I was standing there. I'm getting bombarded with questions by 6-year-olds. But, like, I just like this episode. And you're like, nothing's happening. I mean, that is fair. Realistically, the show is very slow. And for something that is 12 episodes, like, it is kind of weird to be really slow. But I'm the person who watched all 24 episodes of a show of people running an aquarium. So, and I fucking adore that show.
Angler is 13, as a note.
It says 12 on AniList.
Oh no, it is 12. I have it wrong. Yeah, mouse is 12. Okay, I was wrong. Why did I have that?
The reason I said was that I was checking. I
You
was
double
checking
checked. Yeah.
to see how long it would be because I was like, this is 25. This pace does make sense because that does take a while.
Yeah, still 12. Again, 4 episodes probably. My assumption is we're gonna start delving in next week. And then that's just gonna be it for the rest of the run. I mean, I think historically on this podcast, Michael and I have typically been the kind of people who like this style of show long term. Because there's some things that I don't. Mason, were you here for the Daemon season?
Yeah, that was like
Okay.
my 3rd season.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I don't know. I don't think you were as into Daemon just because of the idea of it.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Daemon.
Right?
Yeah, it's the candy shop. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I think that was more like my slice of life tastes hadn't really
Right.
taken off yet, and also like there were other things that I was way more into that season.
Yeah, but like this to me is like, it is a similar style of a show, and obviously Michael and I were 2 of the biggest components of that, where it was like, you really hit the nail on the head on the small, slow burn interaction show. That like when you got to episode 8, like it was still slow, but if you were invested in the dynamic and the setup for it, you were really invested in it. And if you weren't, you weren't. And that was what happened with Daemon too. Like we've seen this before on the podcast with a couple of different styles of show. And it usually does not always hit everybody, is the idea. Which I don't think that's a bad thing. This is definitely a genre diff for these 2 shows, I think, of especially on like to a degree for me, where it's like, if you were going to pitch me slice of life slow burn fishing show, Yakuza romance, like oddly enough, yeah, no, I think this checks out on the way I would expect this to go for me. I've had good Yakuza shows before.
I feel like you guys usually aren't the slice of life guys.
See, you have this misconception about it that you think it's very particular slice of lives I fucking love. Some of my favorite
Fantasy.
shows are slice of lives. Like I don't know what to tell you. What it really is, John, is I just don't like things you like.
Apparently.
We're not allowed to
Not
be on the
just you,
same side of the
apparently.
team, except for when our fantasy and slice of life combine. Then we're allowed to do the handshake gift.
Thank you, Saints. Magic powers omnipotent.
I have to go watch the 2nd season of that. Sugar
Me
Apple
too, I
Fairy
wanna
Tale.
read it.
Sugar Apple Fairy Tale.
At least unlike Apothecary, their author isn't in jail for the next 5 years.
Yeah, like I fucking love Anohana. I really liked Blue Period.
That's the difference. You like dramas.
Yes,
Like Blue Period, like felt like an action show disguised as a.
I don't
like,
think so.
My favorite action show, the one where 2 people stare at each other naked as they draw each other.
But like Daemon, Senpai from last season. Like there are a lot of slice of life shows that are absolutely my cup of tea. Throw music in and I really like it. That's the catch. That's how you get me. I love me a good music slice of life. And with this, we have our results in.
This is how we get Sean to watch K-On!
I mean, you say that, but every time it fucking comes up and I ask you about K-On!, you all go, eh.
No, that's the joke, that it's not actually that good.
Yeah,
It's-
so why would I go watch it?
It's
What do you
barely
mean?
even a
K-On!
music
is
show
peak
50% of the
Michael.
time.
Peak Moe.
I am notoriously,
Sure.
Keon versus Mochi discussion.
I am notoriously not
Music can't
the
start
biggest
with
Moe
music.
guy.
Joey says that Bochi was shit.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah, we don't talk about that opinion on
The
this
bad-
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not getting into the trashest take.
We
You
say
guys
we have-
bad taste
we
in
s-
anime.
I-
Just watch
I was
trash
gonna
taste
say,
and Joey
there's
Fatty
a-
Boy
as the
rock.
as the Mongol lad doesn't know what an anime is.
There's a reason we let them have that podcast name. Definitely, it was
Yeah.
God, his
definitely a choice.
I went to like because there was another clip. This is like the 3rd or 4th clip where Prosy D came onto his podcast, and there was like a whole clip about Boshi or about like Joey, it's like Prosy D questions
Yeah.
Joey about his Bochi the Rock taste. I scrolled down the comments. Everyone is just flaming Joey for being
As
a
they should.
hypocrite and also just unbased.
Michael has gone through that exact conversation with me, and Prosy fucking annihilates it, is my understanding.
Prosy the goat, bro. That's my goat.
We have
love
the
Prosy
results. We have the results, and don't worry, John. I won't say anything. Don't
Oh,
worry
God,
about.
awesome.
Don't worry about that. Shows that have full saves:
know.
Donadon, Blue Box, Orb. Show with 1 slay. All Guys Mixer. Show with 2 slays. Angler. Show with 3 slays. Yakuza. So Yakuza is gone this week. Who knows what could possibly go off the podcast next week? It is a true mystery. What will it possibly be? That's right, baby. We're coming for Blue Boxes next week. It's next going. It's just we've had enough of it. It's been too good for too long. It's
amazing.
It's gotta
I will
go.
commit manslaughter.
We
if
can't
that
let you
show
have
goes off.
2 shows in top 3. We can't let you be Mason.
Yes, you can.
That's true. That's true. Austin might actually.
No,
He
he's
might actually pull the Mason
probably gonna. I'm not.
for season dub. Hey,
I'm just
Donadon's
saying.
right there.
You don't.
Come on now.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Donadon knocking it out of the park. I'm just saying he's probably gonna have 2 shows in top 3.
That's fine.
All I'm saying is that it really depends on where we are for mid core shows.
Yep, we're gonna probably, maybe we'll see. Again, there's always a chance. You never know. I'm just saying I have a stat sheet that I have updated today, and those stats certainly are exactly what I expect them to look like.
Are you telling or are you waiting?
Oh, I wait for stats.
Right.
That's part of the game. But the update I will give is that I will say that total amount of top 3 finishes number will be 35. Shows will have the chance to be in top 3 35 times because we skipped the week. It would have been 40, but we skipped the week, so it's 35. Because there's 5 of us in 3 spots
We
each.
don't like round numbers. Round numbers bad. Round numbers scary.
Yeah.
They're all circular and shit. Yeah.
But so I have those numbers, and then I of
Number
course
35 has multiple rounds.
and then I also have the lowest place every show has been in. That'll be a fun discussion. I think you will. There is still a small chance. It is possible next week that one of those lowest place spots changes for a show. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I actually think it's very unlikely, but you never know. As the season goes on, it gets incredibly harder for a show to get ranked really low. Because usually you see those happen at the start of the season, where somebody has a crazy opinion. Somebody goes, this isn't top 3 yet. Like an insane man. There were a couple of us this season. But we'll talk about that when we approach our finale. Next week, we'll have 5 shows left, to which we will cut down to 4, and then we will cut down to 3, and then we will figure out how the fuck we're gonna watch episodes for the finale. It'll be a conversation. I've already warned my podcast, my co-hosts here. It is indeed that time of year. If you go to Mal and you click seasonal anime, it does take you to winter already. Suffer.
Yeah, that's what happens when we take a bit to start.
Well, stuff's starting to
Oops.
end, so that tends to be the case.
It's the spread out. Like we have a lot of shows that get spread out is the problem.
Yep, always do.
And not knowing what you
Like when you're starting when you're starting your like first week of watching shows because a show just started out and like one show's got like 4 episodes out, you're like, oh geez.
And then you have to get a day, you have to get a day to actually work so everybody's scheduled to do the first long episode that takes 2,000 years. But yeah, that's gonna wrap that. So we will see you next week when we talk about Check's Notes, Donadon, Blue Box, All Guys Mixer, Orb, and Angler. So that'll be that. See you
I
later.
have been silent.